you're running out of time, not in years in presence. Every day, someone else is taking the space you were supposed to fill. Someone else is walking with the confidence you were born to carry. And while you're scrolling, doubting, waiting for the perfect moment, life's already replacing you in real time. Listen, the world doesn't wait for someday. You either show up with depth or you fade out with noise. You either lead with power or you get lost in the crowd of men still figuring it out. And here's the truth that should hit like a punch in the chest. You don't lose people because you're not enough. You lose them because your energy doesn't make them feel something anymore. If you don't master your presence, your calm, your focus, your emotional control, you become forgettable, disposable. And that's the slow death most men live without even realizing it. So this isn't just another motivation video. It's a fing alarm clock for your soul. Because if you don't take back your power, now someone else will, where your potential like it was theirs all along. Here's the thing most people miss. Being unforgettable isn't about trying harder. It's not about flashy gestures or empty compliments. It's about mastering a deep presence, learning the subtle codes of attraction psychology, and creating an emotional space where others feel valued. Think of it like this: a man who understands these truths isn't just noticed, he's indispensable. He's the type of man that, when he leaves, a quiet absence lingers. People remember not just what he did, but how he made them feel. And there's a secret many overlook. This presence can't be faked. You can't pretend your way into being unforgettable. It's born from a combination of self-awareness, emotional control, and authentic confidence. It's the quiet strength that speaks louder than any words, the calm that cuts through chaos, the grounded energy that makes people want to follow, trust, and lean in. Right now, you might be asking yourself, is this something I can actually develop? The answer is yes, but only if you're willing to step beyond shallow notions of power, to step beyond ego, and really commit to becoming the kind of man who's remembered, not just noticed. This is the beginning of a journey, the first glimpse into the qualities that make a man impossible to replace. And by the time we finish this series, you'll see why it's less about tactics and more about becoming someone whose energy is truly irreplaceable. Because here's the hardest truth: most men settle for being seen, when what they should aim for is being remembered. And being remembered isn't just about charisma, it's about mastery over yourself, over your presence, and over the way you make others feel. Are you ready to discover what that really means? Are you ready to start cultivating the kind of presence that leaves a lasting mark? The truth is, you've been underestimating just how much impact a man can have when he learns the real secrets of attraction, emotional safety, and presence. And once you unlock these, the dynamic of every interaction changes. People don't just notice you, they lean in, they trust, they follow. And most importantly, they remember. So lean in a little closer, pay attention, because the journey to becoming a man who is impossible to replace starts right now. The lessons in next parts won't just teach you, they'll transform how you carry yourself in every room, every conversation, every relationship. And trust me, once you step into this energy, the world begins to respond differently. You won't just exist, you'll be unforgettable. So now that you understand what makes a man unforgettable, let's unpack the essence of why this works. Most men think it's about being liked, being loud, or showing off accomplishments. The truth, it's none of that. What sets a man apart is the energy he carries, the unshakable, quiet confidence that communicates value without words. This is masculine, an energy in its purest form, calm, focused, unwavering. And the secret is, this energy doesn't just attract, it resonates. Think of the last time you met someone who felt impossible to replace. Chances are it wasn't their wealth, their charm, or their humor alone. It was the way they made you feel safe, respected, and acknowledged. Emotional safety is a rare currency in today's world. When a man can hold space for others, listen without judgment, and remain grounded even in chaos, he becomes magnetic. People aren't drawn to perfection, they're drawn to presence. And here's a critical point many overlook. Deep presence is cultivated, not inherited. It's a skill honed through self-awareness, reflection, and disciplined practice. A man who invests in understanding himself, who identifies his triggers and masters his emotions, naturally emits strength. This is what women sense instantly, often unsubconsciously, and why they gravitate toward him. Masculine energy isn't aggressive, it's intentional. It's a steady undercurrent beneath every interaction, guiding, reassuring, and drawing others in. Now, let's talk psychology for a moment. Humans are wired to respond to authenticity. When a man is secure in who he is, when he doesn't overcompensate with pretense or ego, he communicates a rare kind of trustworthiness. Women feel it, men respect it, and peers can't help but notice. This is how someone becomes irreplaceable not by what he does, but by how he carries himself. And here's the subtle layer most people miss. Being unforgettable also involves absence. It's not about being distant or cold, it's about being present in a way that your energy lingers even when you're not there. Your words, your gestures, your calm authority, these leave a mark. People start to recognize a pattern. You are consistent, reliable, and emotionally intelligent. That is magnetic. That is rare. And that is precisely why certain men become impossible to replace. Remember, the journey isn't about learning tricks to impress, it's about cultivating depth, mastery, and emotional resonance. It's about becoming a man whose presence transforms the space around him, whose energy shifts conversations, whose confidence instills trust without saying a word. This is the first step toward being unforgettable, and now you're beginning to see the mechanics behind the magic. Every interaction is an opportunity. Every conversation is a chance to deepen presence. And every moment you commit to self-mastery brings you closer to being the man people can't imagine their lives without. Now that you understand the essence of deep presence and emotional safety, the next question is, how do you make it tangible in your everyday life? It's not enough to know the theory, you have to live it. The habits you cultivate, the way you carry yourself, and the energy you bring to every interaction determine whether you're noticed, remembered, or simply forgotten. First, let's talk consistency. There's a difference between moments of confidence and a man whose energy is steady and wavering and reliable. People sense this consistency instantly when you act with integrity, when your words match your actions, and when you stay grounded under pressure, you build a reputation that can't be replicated. This is the quiet power that people admire and trust. Next is presence in action. Deep presence isn't just a vibe, it's the way you listen, respond, and engage. When someone speaks, give them your full attention. Resist the urge to interrupt, to scroll, to check your phone. Show that your energy isn't scattered, it's focused. This simple habit creates emotional safety. People feel heard, valued, and seen. And once someone feels that way around you, they won't easily forget it. Then there's mastery over self. Irreplaceable men have boundaries not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. They understand the difference between giving attention freely and giving it to the right people at the right time. They know that being needed isn't the same as being respected. Emotional resilience, calmness in chaos, and the ability to regulate your own emotions are what make others trust and admire you without question. Another critical behavior is discretion. A man who keeps confidence, who doesn't overshare, who allows space for mystery becomes intriguing. People are drawn to what they can't fully predict, to what they can't fully measure. This doesn't mean secrecy, it means thoughtful engagement, choosing your words and actions with purpose. Being unforgettable isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the one whose energy lingers long after the room has emptied. Finally, cultivate a growth mindset. Irreplaceable men are constantly evolving. They seek wisdom, embrace challenges, and refine themselves with every opportunity. They understand that the journey toward being unforgettable is ongoing, and that the work begins internally, developing skills, mastering emotions, and living intentionally. Every small action, every conscious choice, every controlled response contributes to the magnetic energy that makes a man impossible to replace. It's not flashy, it's not loud, it's profound. And the more you integrate these habits into your life, the more your presence becomes undeniable, your energy irresistible, and your impact unforgettable. By now, you've seen that presence, emotional safety, and intentional behavior are essential. But understanding these traits is only half the battle. The next step is observing how people naturally respond to a man who embodies these qualities and learning how to leverage that understanding without manipulation. Picture a room where someone like this walks in. It's not just that heads turn, it's subtle. People lean in slightly, conversations pause, energy shifts. Women feel calm yet intrigued. Men respect and often emulate. Why? Because the irreplaceable man radiates a combination of confidence, self-mastery, and emotional resonance that the human mind is hardwired to notice. He triggers unconscious recognition of value, trustworthiness, security, and presence. This isn't learned behavior, it's magnetic energy in action. Consider how he communicates. Words are measured, intentional, and impactful. But more powerful than words is how he makes others feel. Emotional safety is a trigger. When someone feels seen, understood, and respected, a psychological imprint forms. They don't just remember the conversation, they remember the sensation, the calm, the focus. That is the hallmark of a man impossible to replace. Another subtle trigger is his balance of accessibility and independence. He is present, yet not dependent on validation. This dynamic creates intrigue. People are naturally drawn to those who stand on their own, who aren't swayed by every whim or opinion. The combination of reliability and self-sufficiency creates admiration, trust, and an unspoken desire to connect. It's a rare alignment that most people never consciously notice, but they feel it profoundly. Look closely at real-life examples around you. Who do people gravitate toward? Who inspires loyalty, respect, or attraction? Rarely is it someone loud, flashy, or desperate for approval. It's the man whose energy is consistent, intentional, and quietly magnetic. A man who manages himself before managing others. A man whose presence lingers even after he has left. And here's the subtle power: the world will unconsciously adjust to your energy. People will make room for you, trust you with the responsibilities, confide in you, and seek your guidance. It's not manipulation, it's the natural human response to someone who embodies depth, presence, and emotional mastery. This is the invisible influence of the irreplaceable man: impact without effort, presence without performance, respect without demand. The lesson here is clear: cultivate presence, emotional safety, and intentionally consistently. Observe the responses you trigger, refine your energy, and the way people perceive and remember you will shift dramatically. The man who masters these elements doesn't just participate in life, he leaves a mark on every interaction, every room, every relationship. Now that you've seen what makes a man impossible to replace, it's time to internalize it. Presence, emotional safety, and intentional behavior aren't abstract concepts. They are the building blocks of a life where your energy becomes memorable, respected, and sought after. You've learned that it's not about being flashy or loud, it's about consistency, self-mastery, and cultivating a depth that resonates long after you're gone. Transformation begins with reflection. Ask yourself, how do people feel in my presence? Do I leave them inspired, secure, and valued, or do I fade into the background of their lives? Every interaction is a mirror showing the energy you project. The man who is impossible to replace doesn't just exist, he transforms spaces, elevates conversations, and inspires trust and admiration. But understanding isn't enough. Action is required. Begin today by consciously cultivating these qualities. Practice deep listening, hold space for others, master your emotions, and create a quiet, magnetic energy that leaves people, or it's in these daily, intentional choices that you shift from being noticed to being unforgettable. And here's a powerful reminder: the journey doesn't end here. Becoming irreplaceable is a lifelong process, one that grows as you evolve, refine your mindset, and step fully into your potential. The more you integrate these principles, the more your presence becomes a force that people feel even in your absence. If you're ready to continue this path, I recommend watching Unleash Radiance, the Daily Motivation. This next video will expand on mindset, confidence, and quotes that strengthen your energy, refine your character, and help you maintain the magnetic presence you're cultivating. Before you go, take a moment to act. Subscribe to Wisdom Recorder and hit the like button, because you deserve a consistent source of insight to elevate your life. Remember, your energy, your presence, and the way you make others feel are the keys to becoming irreplaceable. Don't just exist, be unforgettable.